Great. Come on. Go inside. So, we set up before, this is getting trans brake valve body put in it. I think I'm going to go with the TCI ones, internal trans brake. Trans brake valve sits right below the reverse exhaust exit for the fluid on it, so it should dump it pretty quick. I'm going to do a couple of modifications here to the pump. I took this thing apart. I mean, really, clutches and steels and stuff in it were really good shape. You know what I mean? Did put a new low reverse sprag in it. The rollers aren't supposed to fall out of them like that. So got myself a new Borg Warner low reverse sprag in it. We were gonna put, because of having the trans brake valve body in this, there will not be a forward band in this transmission. This is your low reverse band down here. Your forward band, normally there would be a pin right here. Your actuator for the band, your servo would come up through here, but we do not use, this particular valve body does not have engine braking or like manual second, so we're not going to have a band in there. So we're going to utilize this piece here, nice billet piece I got from TSI. Here's the part number for it, for the case saver. And that'll fit down in here, and it will help support, let me get that so you guys can see it. It will help to support that intermediate clutch snap ring in there when that's all back together. We'll do a little how-to install when we get to that point. I prefer this one. There was a couple of other ones out there that I've seen for this case saver type deal. One of them just looks like a little piece of L-bent bracket, and to me it looked pretty cheesy. Yeah, it was cheap, but I just didn't trust it. This one here is nice. It bolts up through the servo bore, where the old servo piston would be, to help locate the bottom of this, to keep it from, moving this way. And then this bolt here actually goes up through where the pin used to come out to anchor your front band. That little 1/4 inch pin to bolt that in place, to keep that stuff from going anywhere. Keep that snap ring in place, keep those lugs in there. The other thing, now I know that the valve body will come with a PR spring, but Sonax has this nice little booster kit that they redesigned the boost valve on it, and what it does is at like low RPM, you're sitting there in idle and you go to drop it in gear, instead of this thing running 220 psi all the time, that it kind of lowers your line pressure a little bit when you don't need it. As demand on the engine increases, as you need that performance, that higher line pressure, instead of being just a consistent linear, it actually has like a slope to the pressure, and will actually tend to build more pressure than like your shift kit springs and your aftermarket PR springs. They do that with a slightly heavier duty spring and a redesigned valve that's actually wider in diameter to allow more fluid pressure. So that'll be interesting. Mainly I tore this thing down just to see what guts were in it. It does have the 34 element Sprague in it. I did pull that apart and check that. I think we're going to be doing a new input shaft and forward drum. I would like to rollerize that inner clutch hub there. The car weighs 3570 right now as it is with me in it, so the couple $100 to upgrade this input shaft and this direct or forward drum seems like a good idea, since they tend to be weak points on these. Let's see what else. Oh, did rollerize the rear case in there. Normally there's a 3-tang thrust washer that sits in them little tangs there on the transmission. One of the easy upgrades to it is you run like a TH350 pump bearing in the front of there, a Torrington bearing, and you knock the rear, I can't think right now, the rear case bushing up a little bit, like 100,000ths of an inch, to locate this Torrington bearing then, and that way all your rear thrust is up against a bearing and not just a thrust washer. I'm also going to do a walkthrough on a Sunax article about checking and setting all of your gear set end plays in here. These gear sets have specific tolerances that you want to see to make sure that these things are running true and aren't going to eat themselves up. So we're going to do checking your output shaft end play. We're going to check the clearance, the end play between your rear planetary and your front planetary. We're going to check the clearances of the front pump and the bushing between that pump and your direct drum, and then also your forward drum and your direct drum, and also then your output shaft clearance between your pump and your drum. So stay tuned for all that. We'll do a little walkthrough on that stuff, and hopefully when this all goes back together it all works, because guys, I've never rebuilt one of these before, so I'm going to either learn or burn, one of the two, but hopefully it'll all go back together and won't have any issues. So stay tuned for the channel for that, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon. Take care.